Good evening, friends. Welcome, workers, resources, and so on in accelerated time frames. This is the first attempt. It did not go great because the population took quite a tumble. But on the bright side, the game was very stable. It did not crash for like 7 hours or so. However, it reaches quite a steady state there where not a whole lot of things happens. As I should be a little bit more on the ball here maybe, but then, that was for a silly reason that was actually already fixed and might also have been slightly buggy there, that semaphore. As this is what then took place. Cheers. I can say it's more of the same. It's things going by here. And I mean, it is sort of approaching a state of perpetualness, is it not? Because the population is really, I'd say it is quite stable. Stable? Well, yes. Here's a little bit of a special thing, and now we're not really supposed to be. Crap. Yes, this is going great. No, that's for later. This is the last bit. 2046. God damn it. Time flies by. Yeah, that was it. And we're also live here somewhere in the background, like about there. Yes. So there we have it. But here in the meantime, no, but I had something planned. Little bit. I'm trying to coordinate this. As songs of harvesting, and I don't know. It's an experiment to see how it looked with this. Yeah, they come in and unload, but I don't think that the time lapse effect, the faster progression of time really adds a whole lot to this experience. No, it's better experienced real time. And speaking of real time, I'm now done. I've spent, yes, Dr. Flynn, what did you do with your Saturday? Well, pardon me. Yes, pardon me indeed. Well, funny thing you should ask, because I spent the entire day setting up a cloud Soviet simulator. Yes, on Azure, on Microsoft Azure. Or Azure, or however the hell it's supposed to be pronounced. I've never tried it before. I only used AWS, But this was my first. Azure is extremely stupid. It's a Microsoft product. But the gist is that I don't think that there is really any way out of this. Not a real good. There isn't a solution to the performance issues that you end up with after a certain point in these types of games, which is unfortunately the way it's always been, and it is very unfortunate that it continues to be so. I mean, this game is already lost. You cannot make it multi-threaded at this point. We should be happy if we could get maybe power lines not disappearing or semaphores working or such. But there must come some sort of this type of thing. I realize it gets to a whole another level of complexity, of course, if you want to do this sort of thing in a multi-threaded fashion, but it's really the only way forward. And if you crack that nut, I mean, like, yes, 3D Vision here, Soviet Republic, whatever you called that does transport fever, train fever, that thing. You're locked into your little game engine core thing, and regrettably, players such as there are players who don't know when to stop. Yes, and we need more, out of your game engine. We need more. We need to be able to use more of the potential in our hardware, because this isn't cutting it. That said, though, it is sort of okay-ish. It is not completely unplayable, but it is not great. But yes, what did you do with your Saturday? Well, I spent it, as I said, trying to set up a Soviet simulator on the cloud, on the Amazon Azure. And you see, we can have a look, notice the GPU says NVIDIA Tesla M60. That is, that thing didn't even notice that this game was running. I can tell you that much. Well, it wasn't quite. I think that first, what is it that we have first of all here? We have. Come on. Yes, I'm trying to find. And so I think that this is something quite stock. I tell you that my old rig is quicker at loading than this Azure thing is very bursty in performance, and considering the price of this machine that I had as the cloud Soviet simulator, I'm not impressed. No, not impressed. But this, yes, this was the proof of concept first of all, to see if it would be smooth with a regular map, and is that all we get? Maybe. Yes, I had done some before as well. Yes, to make sure that there were no bottlenecks. There's a procedure here. I'm recording the video on the cloud simulator, cloud Soviet simulator, but I'm controlling it through remote desktop. Yes, so the controls and the feedback you get from it is disjointed from what is getting recorded. Yes. We can skip ahead a bit. Okay, and here is TBD loaded up, and on this what CPU was it? Yes, it was a Xeon E520 something damned. I mean the highest rated one. Basically, it was it $2,000 something. Yes, it's quite an old generation, but I think it goes to show that my point, that single-threaded performance isn't really going anywhere, and that's not where it is. Here, I apparently have trying to fiddle about. Yes, doing it over remote desktop does something to your to the sensitivity of the controls. Yes, here we have a train. There we realize also that the game is running on high speed, which is not a fair comparison. Yes, anyway, the clock speed of those CPUs was 2.6 gigahertz, and we might even get some numbers showing up here, which is 1 gigahertz less than mine. Yes. And maybe, I think the performance is actually worse here. Even though it was really difficult to judge, considering the interactivity feeling wasn't that great, but this... I don't think it's much better, and For some reason, I think the game is capped to how much video memory it would use. Yes, that GPU, what was it? 12 gigabytes of video RAM, yes, and it capped out at about the same number that it caps out with my 6 gigabyte card. What else? What was that about? But still, the GPU load is insignificant, even less significant than it is on my rig. GPU load, yes. CPU load, very intensive, yes. So if maybe then with these because these processors, yes, they are old, that we have been running on in the cloud. They were introduced in 2014, I think, or something, 14, 15, somewhere thereabouts. It was version 3 of those E5 Xeons. Anyway, if one of those then running at about 2.6 gigahertz is more or less, computing-wise, what you get out of this older, my rig's older generation without the slightly newer instruction sets and things at 3.6 gigahertz, yeah, then because after that generation there really isn't that much going on. There nothing's happening. You just need to get the clock speed up. Yes, I might have been gone a bit deep on the deep end into trying to figure out how to optimize a system for a particular game here. But now I've spent way too much time on that, so I shall at least try and summarize what my findings are. Yes, I suppose one could get, compared to what I get on the current rig, I suppose I could get maybe a 20% increase if I did something, if I built something that was for optimized for Soviet simulation. Yes, Soviet simulation optimizations and so on. And but to get something with a high clock speed, I would have to sacrifice core count, and I don't want to do that. Should I need to get a custom computer to? No. Yes, but they turbo. If you only use a few cores, yes, that works all the time. That thing. Every once in a full moon and so on, that thing will turbo up. No, I want more predictable raw power. I think we get some performance numbers here at some point. Yes, here we do. Here we go. This is not looking great. 5 frames per second. There's plenty of memory it had too, that machine. This is rough. It's really rough, is what it is. Yes, and there is more of this stuff. Yes, trains going about. Am I actually... You know what? I have been talking about something that I have not been showing. That's not great. What the hell am I going to do now? Åt helvete med den här jävla skiten is what I'm going to do now. Screw this. This fucking Soviet simulator is limited to about this size. Yes. You may be able to build a computer that is slightly better, maybe 20% better at Soviet simulation than what we have here. But when you get to this point, that's the end of the road for you. So, yes. God damn it. I don't know what to say because it's... maybe it would be it would even be a bit funny because I'm talking about I don't know if it will work or not. In case we did, I don't do post-production in that way, that I cut and do stuff like that. No, live to tape is how we do it here. Yes, but okay, now we're actually showing the thing. Yes, great. Fantastic. No, yes, you are showing that, but where is the... Yes, this is totally professional, this. I know exactly what's going on. No, I have absolutely no idea what's going on because yes, you crashed. No, I don't want to send a bug report. I don't expect things to work under these conditions, you know. Yes, this is here we have this is rendered by the Cloud Soviet Simulator. This is the TBD running somewhere in Ireland, I believe it was. Yes, Northern Europe, Microsoft. When you write that, is that really Ireland? Yes, maybe I should have checked. But West Europe apparently would probably have been a better choice. But in the end, it makes very, very little difference here. And for this particular thing, it doesn't make a difference at all. No. So, well, Jits did off it. Yes, you can buy a pretty cheap processor actually that has a really high clock frequency, and that will do perfectly fine for this game. For more intelligent or for applications that puts the available resources to better use, can we put it that way? That will not be a good choice. No. And yes, I needed to benchmark this somehow. And I tried thinking, okay, do I have access to something, you know, where I could load up my game? No. But you know, there are cloud things. You can rent someone else's computer basically. So this is that. Right, we never saw that you know what sort of GPU and things it actually had. There we go. Yes, NVIDIA Tesla M60. Yes, very good. And we can do the thing with here stock map, very short. Proof of concept. Yes, proof of concept. There it is loaded. Yes, turn about a bit very quickly. Move about a bit. It is smooth. It is still smooth. Yes. Really smooth, in fact. Very good, as one would expect. A bit of lagginess to my input there. This could probably be observed. And yes, this is what we get here. Okay. Should we jump directly into the real Soviet simulator proper then? If I can get these goddamn things to correct here. Yes. Because that was, let me see here. We were, yes, indeed. We were at the, were we at the bus platform here? It's pretty damn slow. Yes, and imagine what it would have been like if we were still, if the developer, if he wouldn't have Peter, if he wouldn't have done that, you know, tearing the engine apart into world simulation and rendering instructions or some sorts, so it at least utilizes two threads. As without that, we would be even worse off. But yes, there is a lot of stuff going on. And by the way, at the end of all these time lapses, we actually started losing a bit of population. This year, you see, it has gone down, and it was escapes here, and death rate not so much. Escapes, yes. The thing is, when the population gets to that extent, I think it would be self-regulating in time, because it strains the food production a bit here. This old food factory, we cannot keep well staffed enough, often enough to supply food at quite the regularity that is requested, and also not the quantity. Because what? You have supposedly just been out for your round, and they were 3 tons. Yes, they have been loading up. They're running low in their local warehouse too. This is not okay. We still have lots of people about here. We're not doing a long distance commuting thing. We're doing a simple thing. We have even more snowplows there now. I don't care about those goddamn snowplows. No. But we certainly need more workers in that thing, in the food factory. Yes. And this is a familiar thing to do, is it not? Create a new line. Yes. We're still creating new lines here in 2146. And it's matarbetarlinjen, And I think there already is a line named something like this. Because this is not the first time in history that something along these lines has been attempted. So you go there, you load, but not full. And then you go there and you load full. And then you go here, unload 100% of anything. Would we happen to have any buses around here? Would we not quite? The comfort levels is not acceptable in there. We only had a very old. No, never mind that. We'll head over here. We should have plenty of buses. Yes, we probably do. Yes. 3 of these. 3? I think two will suffice. As a start, at least. Yes. Okay, so Cloud Soviet Simulator, not a good idea. And what got me started on that is there's a sticky thread on the forum that you can play this game on a streaming service. It's apparently some little Romanian company that does it. But the thing is that you cannot upload your save file to them. And I could not get a specification on what sort of CPU they would be, the game would be running on. So I thought, what the hell? I would have to try and do my own cloud gaming thing here. And it worked out in the end, as we saw there, but it was of no use whatsoever. It confirms the thing that I've been thinking. But maybe one could get 20% more out of this. But that's it. Yes. That's it. It's doesn't scale that way anymore, you know. It hasn't done so for a very long time. We will have to wait until the future arrives to the Republic if things are going to continue this way. So yes, we should now maybe have more workers in there. Yes, this I have delved a bit, gone off the deep end on, I have to admit. But then I sort of tend to do that. This thing in and of its own is quite off the deep end too, is it not? After all, have you finished the new ship? No. You're missing mechanical components and the train won't be triggered to leave until it's out of everything, and it never will be out of electrical components because, you know, yeah, that's how it works. So you go and get some plastics and then mechanical components, and then maybe they can finish this boat. It would have probably been finished a long time ago if we would have been paying attention, but that's not what we do. This is one thing, yes, $2 billion we've hit by exporting bitumen, I would suppose, every now and then. Last year. But I don't understand where does the rubles come from? I don't understand. Where do the rubles come from? I'm not selling anything in rubles as far as I know. That just increases every now and then. And none of these have burnt down. I thought at one point, you know, that since these have negative value, if they burn down, they disappear or something. Then maybe you get money for them. It's a theory, yeah. Take it for what it's worth. How are you doing here? Yes, that safe road is no longer safe. This my residence though is pretty safe. Yes, it's good. And my thing here, whatever this is, City Hall Accounting Office. Yes, very good. Carry on and so on. So I don't know where the rubles come from, because I think you know, when we started out here, we now remember also to do that bit, and then when we started out here, let's use it. Now there was 21 million rubles there too. Okay. I may be forgetting things I'm doing. It's probably the most likely cause. Something that we haven't done in a long time is plant trees. How are you doing here in the woods? Is the wood cutting post visible? It certainly is. That means that we're going to plant some trees. You have amount of wood in the forest, no tons. And no workers, but they get around, don't they? Yes, they do. Eventually they come around here. But there are no tons of wood in the forest, you say? There seems to be plenty here. Or maybe they're just for show or something. What happens to this amount? felled trees ready to transport, 188 tons. Yeah. This really isn't doing anything. No. Maybe these will be more real or something. Somewhere in here there is another wood cutting post, and it's about here, yes. If we use if we remove a few trees, yes, it diminishes the amount there. So yes, those trees were just for show. Yes, this Southern Great Rail network that you built here, what was the point again? It's for safer food supply down here, and I must say that I think it is working. It's pretty neat too. Fuel, 203,000 tons. I think it's a safe time to fill up Svea here. We could certainly, but due to a slight mishap, she is carrying foreign diesel at the moment. Should we really mix that with our own? What could happen? Actually, nothing could happen. The pumping harbor is load, fuel, thank you, and go there as would you? I think that you're at least considering it, yes. Yes, we are now completely topped up on fuel. Completely topped up on fuel. Wonder what we could do to the marketplace. Yes, to the global price of fuel. Here, we have 3 tankers filled to the brim. This one has a bit of bitumen, so we don't mind that. How much can we tank the price of diesel? That's about. That's my new shipping time lapse. How much can you tank the price of diesel? You are somehow out of fuel, you say. Yes, this doesn't. It doesn't make all the sense in the world. Very often. Here we can see there is a lot of fuel being transported. Is this? Oh yes, you know what we can do is if we do this distance from camera 1 kilometer and we remove trains because the ship is a train. You can see if it is actually decreasing. No. This doesn't seem to be working so great for you for some reason. Or for some reason, you know what we can do? I think is turn this off if we can. Yes. There you go. That allowed you to fill up that thing, and that might in turn allow the tanker to tank, to fill its tank, and that in turn might just this I think that we leave that disabled. That is for being able to get fluids out of the harbor, and when we should we ever need to do that, we can take care of that at that time. So now there's one more with diesel in it. This one. As you're not really where is it taking it from? I don't think it's noticeable when it's refueling. Here. No. but you will be refueled when the time comes. There you were happy with your refuel, and you started loading. And there we can actually see it getting lower too. How nice! No, that, yes. And then go to ship dock, indeed. And when they're all at the ship docks, we'll send them off in various directions and be... Or should we send off one now and have yes, Soviet countries go unload, please. And this, it will take a whole lot less time to travel to Western countries. Yes. Apparently we have another one of these container liners filled with nuclear fuel here. It should be sitting in here. I mean, the fires, it's... the chemical plant. There has to be, a few buildings that actually has burnt down here. But there are 600 pages now. Yes, and it's the 23rd of November. Our third boat. Yes, you will eventually go to a house. He's not doing so great. You cannot get... that doesn't look safe. Didn't you want to see that movie? Or whatever it it was something. Okay, you cannot get in between here, it would seem. I don't understand why you wouldn't. Well, that works. If it works for you, it works for me. Yeah, definitely. Very good. But what happened to the other one? It's here. Yes, I think it's time we send off the other one to the west. It happens to be this one. You stop beyond the borders, west, unload. But after you have been, you actually... Yeah. Go here and load fuel. There, and then go to ship dock. Yes, but not now. No. Now you're going to Western countries. It's also, I think, time to get some nuclear fuel on the move again, because they're full here. Are you just going to continue this forever? Maybe? Maybe I will. We have here trains at the ready. This will do nicely. So you go there, add some fuel, keeping place. No. There, and you load. There you go, and then you go. As the harbor is now free for getting rid of vehicles, we can put them on trains if we want to. I like this, having nuclear fuel sitting around on ships. So that's what we're collecting now. Just how much nuclear fuel can we get? What are you doing? You're supposed to go beyond the borders, Western countries. Start. Svea, how are you doing? You're loading. Deadly loading. So economy and trade here. Current price on the global market. At the moment, the price for 1 ton of fuel, if you want to buy it for rubles, is 10,543 rubles and 40, whatever they call it, I don't recall. And on the Western market, if you want to buy 1 ton of diesel, it is $13,724. Yes. It certainly seems like a better deal to get it from the west, from the east. Yes, we are probably dealing with some sort of alternate reality here, because, if you try and sell petroleum-based product in any quantity in any other currency than US dollars, things will not go well for you. Maybe we should not get deeper into that one. That's the way it is. How much nuclear fuel is now worth a lot. Yes, this nuclear waste that is piling up here. Speaking of, before we go to the pile, let's go and have a look at the reprocessing plant. See how that's doing, and if the radiation levels have diminished to something resembling acceptable. You're missing nuclear waste. Okay, yeah, this is much better. There should be a truck here. Yes, you still drive all the way out there, but you don't actually pick anything up. So you're going to do that again, and this doesn't work. You get the full load each time, every which way. 9%. Okay, we can try. And we shall see. There's something burnt down, speaking of which. An agrofarm. No! That's no fun. An agrofarm, that looked pretty important too. And I think that this is the first time, isn't this like the 5th time that this particular agrofarm has burnt down? I don't know if it is the 5th, but it is at least the 3rd. It could well be the 4th time that we're building it. And last time it burned down, I remember putting in a road to get, you know, a little bit shorter access, more accessibility for the fire station, yes. But there was something more here that you should have done. Turn this down, please. That was that, this bit. Because, I mean, seriously, come on here. You must be able to make it out there. Yes, with that bit in, I think you will. This, by the way, is incorrect configuration. Suspend. Demolish. We want the silo or grain storage in here. Yeah, well, you could do that, or you could try that. Could we try as well? Yes, what was the thing I was considering subjecting the people to next? Here, now they should have, as they've had food in the shops for a long time, but we did lose quite a few people. As long as they are keeping this place well staffed, it's all right. And I think we actually have people from the rich nuclear workers. For some reason, not a whole lot of people on this particular bus, but here it is. It's very silent. Well, there we have a view isn't it time you end this? Now you spent 2 days first, rummaging through every piece of combination of computer hardware you had access to, which is not an insignificant amount. Yes, and this is now running, in a rack, something at least intended for rack mount workstation. Yes. Crazy thing. Heavily modified to be able to fit, a consumer grade graphics card in there, and also to be able to connect, just get a power connection for something that is SATA, for example, because this thing has, of course, a SAS backplane on the front. Yes. And there are so many combinations of connectors and things that the chances of you having exactly what you need, the signals the signals on the cable aren't that different. It's mostly the interconnects that differ for some reason. There are extremely diverse ways of connecting these things together. Storage, yes, in various forms. So that was, but the most impressive bit with it is the power supply, or the power supplies. Yes, because this thing has redundant 1100 watts. Yes, that's 1100 watt each power supplies. Which is quite ridiculous, really. But I suppose, if you wanted to, you could use it. Maybe you could use them to weld, if you wanted. If you don't want to have a workstation or a Soviet simulator. Yes, and then setting up all of that on Azure and everything. But it was also it was quite interesting to see if it was possible. And I figured it ought to be, since it's possible to, use remote desktop to control this if one were so inclined. Not that it's a good experience for anyone involved, but it's certainly possible. Figured what the hell, it must be possible to do a remote recording and see how it ends up. Turns out about the same as my own thing here. So that's that. Now there's no reason to go and try and play this game on Azure, and probably not on a different cloud computing platform either, or a remote gaming thing, or whatever they call it. As playing the game on someone else's computer and sending a video of it to you. The problem here, well, at least, okay, fine. If you have a very, very poor computer, very, very poor, then I suppose it's an option. But otherwise, no. You'll still be limited here. Okay, maybe we should lose that subject, try and get rid of it. Yes. I'm a bit obsessed. We're trying to get this to run smooth. Yes, I've gotten used to how choppy it is. And then if you by accident were to load up something a bit less complex, say, and experience that, then this... you realize just how unbearable this is. But if you talk about it less, it might also have less of an impact. At least all of this work has accomplished something. All of these optimizations is relocating the CPU and GPU and everything to this current rack mount workstation thing So what was the point of that? Well, in the end, it the old motherboard that it was sitting on only had an 8x PCI E2 connector as server motherboards. You know, they don't come with the 16x so much. But I was pretty convinced that that wasn't a bottleneck under the circumstances. And the thing that it's in now is that it has a proper 16x slot. Did that do a difference? Maybe about one or two frames per second. I'm certainly not convinced of it. Still, the best tuning was to get rid of that those terrible spectre and meltdown, very dangerous things. Yes, especially under the circumstances we're running here. Yes, that was a very noticeable improvement. Turn that crap off. I'm not endorsing you to do that. Do your own proper research and everything, of course. But it is quite likely that in your particular usage scenario, you're not that in that big of a risk. What was it more? Yes, there's an interesting setting in BIOS, in most BIOSes, for what is it called? Adjacent cache prefetching. Yes, but that's one thing. But there's another thing too. And the cache thing, I think, actually worsened performance a bit when I turned that off. But the other thing, whatever it's called, hardware prefetch, is it that thing I'm talking about? I think it is. That also that maybe had a 2-3 per FPS improvement, and it's very unclear what that actually does and so on. But apparently for single processor loads or certain loads, most motherboard manufacturers say that it depends on your load, on what type of load you have. Okay, it doesn't say anymore. I guess I have to figure it out myself. So yes, that did something. And this particular machine has an interesting option also for enabling high performance I/O. You would think, why not have that name? Apparently that balances prioritizations regarding data flow on the buses internally in the computer, so that traffic bound for the PCI express bus gets priority over data flowing between the CPU and the RAM, if I understood the documentation correctly. It sounds a bit weird. It might have made the performance slightly worse, so that's turned back off. It also said that you're probably not likely to want this, neither need nor want this, but in more of an enterprise way of expressing it. Yes, is that interesting of a subject? This, and for me it is. And well, if you want to build an endless, so if we were to build more, yes, we want to build more, we can't. Is it also maybe now? I mean, the game has been running for 5 years or so, just by itself. I haven't touched it. Maybe that allows things to settle down. Certainly construction officers aren't thinking about where they need to send resources, and this railroad that never went anywhere. Yes, one could do a proper intersection here, or one could do roundabouts, or one could leave it alone. One could. The point was to get get around all of this, was it not? Yes, but then we sort of want to head out that way. Let's see here, we have... Yes, down here is where the railroad is nowadays. Although how the hell would we go about hooking up to that? Except in a silly fashion. We wouldn't. Well, we could use this thing as an extension. Go out... You know, if we could get some tunneling here underneath this. Here, for example. I think it's tall enough. Oh, that's probably correct. I have to try. It's not tall enough. As tunnels like to be below terrain. Yeah, and this is also not. No. Not going to happen. No. Oh, it's actually the year is drawing to an end here, and what have we done? .35 tons of nuclear waste. That's really stable. That's what we seem to always be doing, more or less. Yes, that wraps it up for that bit. Yes, I could leave the perpetual Soviet simulator. I could try and see how far it will go. No, but I think that we need some more ideas here and so on. I think I'm fresh out. One thing, however, that we're not forgetting about doing before that is that bit. Then it may end. We may say farewell. You have a choice. Oh, really? Yes, you do. We may continue. I'm uncertain. I shall have, I think, på återseende. And something like here we resume, and it's about what this is what happened. We can see the impact on the price of the global market there. It is impacted. Say, I was trying to see if there would be some progress on that ship, but not a lot. Here is Svea is sailing towards the border, and now she is selling her load. But this I found a bit odd, because we're currently exporting. Money's going up. What did that boat do for such a short time? I know, we're riding a bit of train there, yeah. And their little boat came back, and that's how it is with that thing, and we're still here. Yes, prices are starting to recuperate a little bit, but I think that we'll leave the ships to it. Leave them to it here. Yes, is this This is pretty much full of, nuclear fuel here. How has this managed to end up? UF6? No, that's part of the building. I see. But it ought to be this one that is responsible. And you have now emptied out. No. Where are you? Okay, well, fine. You can go once more then, since you were already there, and then we send you to the rail yard and park you up. And wait till loaded on. No. Yes, wait till loaded on uranium oxide. Although, preferably do it after to the harbor. Yes. Just a few more clicks here, and we're pretty much done. I think that's it. Yes, now you go and unload at the harbor, and then you go and wait here at the rail yard. Very good. You know, I've been thinking, I don't know about this perpetual Soviet simulator thing. I mean, it is quite boring. Every time I try and run it overnight, there's always something stupid. Either the game has crashed 15 minutes after having started the thing, or it is, as we saw early on here in the demonstration, that it fails within the first hour, for some silly reason. Then, when you can, during the day, you can have a look at it every now and then, and nothing happens. No, everything is fine. I suppose we cannot observe something without changing the without having an impact on it, or however it is it goes, something like that. How much nuclear fuel do we actually have now? 573 tons worth 18.1. Okay. Well, okay, you have somehow ended up with UF6 here, and not only nuclear fuel, which it's not really what we were going for. And I think that we can be quite happy about this now. We don't need to try and suck any more fuel out of the system here. They are pretty sucked dry, actually. Sucked pretty dry is what they are, yes. There isn't a single drop. Wonder if this is most certainly cause an issue somewhere. It must be. Yes. If we do this list of buildings, all map, see if any more medium voltage lines have decided to disappear on us. We should do a power substation. And they all seem to be doing great. It's fantastic. Yes, I wonder what is the next thing that could go wrong. We haven't had a look at the hospitals for a long time. It would be. Then again, okay, finish what you're trying to say first. Have we really not had one single incident with ambulances stuck in front of hospitals for all this time? And that has passed recently? No, I don't think we have. That, to me, would indicate that it has something to do with the what's it called? Experimental traffic pathfinding. Yes, because the game has been running without that now during these extended simulations, and that's not how we usually run it here. And is it really so that it hasn't happened since? That's great. Another one? Oh. And I still don't know quite exactly where the right spot for doing this is supposed to be. In one place. If this place gets backed up, we have serious problems. For example, you are one of the ones here taking the new, yes, 10-year-old route. Yes. Do we keep it here? Or should we just look at Lenin? It's what we always do. Yes, but I should give it one final attempt at leaving it overnight. And see what has transpired come morning. And that is where we'll likely to pick things up in a bit. Who knows, really? I still haven't found that spot. No, I'm still looking for it. That is correct. I'm going to need one of these clicky tongue things. And while we're flying around here, yes, here at the oil refinery, is everything all right? You cannot store or export fuel. At the same time, we are completely out of fuel on the other side of Pallasros. I think this one, for example, yes. this train, after it has gone here, which is a very good thing that it does, it should go out here and unload a bit. What's left? Unload. And we should also probably have even more trains coming. What's this, for example? You're coming here. That's good. 611 tons of fuel you bring. Nice. It is a bit of a shame that we have 400 workers or was it in the oil refinery, and they cannot store or export fuel. Now though they can. That's more like it. Yes, this is certainly one way. We could spend the next 10 years or whatever it takes for the catastrophe to hit. Although it is the most expensive, it's the most resource intensive way to do it. Should we find a cheaper option? Yes, it might differ in several kilowatt hours before this is done. No. And then let's do it over here. The great train roundabout. And not even that one, in fact. Let's do this one over the hill here by Molna. Yeah. Because... no. Here. Here, there may not be a roundabout, there may not be much of anything really. And there might not even be that much traffic. But if we should see trains pile up, and if there ever should be a train pile up, this is one of the places where it is quite likely to occur. Yes. We'll go for that. Numberings, I don't even know. I think that this was 48, but I have somehow named it 49. So, pardon me, I suppose this is 49, but no. Yes, it is. Dash 49. 4,900. Yes, that's what it is. There we go. Friends, yeah, crash the desktop. Good as anything to a way to exit your program. Thanks, friends. Thank you so very much for watching. Good night.